You know, the First Amendment is under attack in this country, and while I primarily focus on the second, when stories like this kind of break out, I have to talk about it. And today I'm going to fill you in on why I believe those making Mark Zuckerberg out to be some kind of martyr for the First Amendment are wrong, why I think his timing is selfish and there's more behind it, and also how the First Amendment is literally on the ballot this November. I want to fill you in and, of course, give you my opinion. And no matter if you agree or disagree, let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and get into it. So Mark Zuckerberg wrote this letter to Jim Jordan, basically saying that the White House has pressured them, or did pressure them, in 2021 when it was related to misinformation about COVID-19. Now remember, back then you couldn't even say COVID-19. You couldn't even have COVID-19 in a title of your video without fear of it not being able to have any kind of ads on it, or being pulled down, potentially getting strikes on your channel, being removed from Facebook, and being suppressed. And that's something that Facebook has openly done in the past. If they see it as potential misinformation, they will suppress that story, send it to their fact checkers, and then if the fact checkers come back and say it's okay, then it can be reposted and shared around like normal. But if not, then it could be completely removed altogether or suppressed where nobody's going to be able to see that story. So Zuckerberg admitted, hey, we caved to the pressure. I'm sorry we didn't stand up to them. And next time, if this happens again, I promise you, we're going to stand up to them. And he also admitted that he's not going to give any money to anyone this election cycle because he, I guess, feels so bad about this. Now, let me just say that I think Zuckerberg's timing here is just him trying to repair his public image as much as he possibly can. He's still running a business. He's focused on Meta and this AI crap that he's doing. So that really, in my opinion, is exactly what he's trying to do here. Nothing more, nothing less. Again, that's just my opinion, but knowing how damaged his reputation has been, how many people just don't trust this guy, it actually is really interesting to me to see how many people have come out in defense of him. Now, let me just say that it is nice to hear that he's actually coming out and telling the truth. At least that's what we think. But again, I don't know if it's him thinking, you know, if Trump gets in office, that something's going to happen there, or he's just trying to repair his image. But this guy is no martyr for the First Amendment. And, you know, some of his previous antics kind of prove that. Now, anecdotally, I'll just tell you that, you know, anytime I post anything on Instagram or Facebook now, it gets it gets basically no views. If I do something on the motorcycle channel, it gets a lot of views, sometimes hundreds of thousands of views, but on the gun channel or anything related to that, not at all. And that doesn't just go for my channel, by the way, that goes for a lot of people. But aside from that, here's just a short list of some of the things that Facebook has done to go against the First Amendment. Now, Facebook has done this around the world, and while I'm primarily focused on the United States, still they worked with the Pakistani government to censor blasphemous images, whatever that was. They censored stuff about the Canadian wildfires. They censored Ron Paul and the ability to search for him, or the search results were skewed for him. PragerU, they removed a lot of their videos because they were inappropriately flagged as having hate speech in them, right? So hate speech in and of itself, just those types of terms, are totally counter to what the First Amendment is all about. And Facebook has had zero issue up until now of actually censoring any kind of content, whether it's the Hunter Biden story or whether it's anything related around COVID-19. I mean, they're so bad, there's actually a Wikipedia page dedicated to Facebook censorship. That's when you know it's bad. Remember, Facebook was amongst one of the companies, along with Twitter back then, that was willing to remove a sitting president from their platform. Now, they're not the only ones, but they've definitely had a hand in censoring oppositional points of view as opposed to just simply remaining neutral, which is why X is so fantastic now, because you see things you don't like and things you do like, and that's what the First Amendment is about. And people get to make a choice whether they will agree with what you say or not, and that will of course have impacts to you, but you won't be censored because of things that you say. That is how it should be. You can say anything you want to. If you say something stupid, then you kind of have to deal with the repercussions of that, but you should not be ever censored or deplatformed because of something that you say, even when it's totally heinous. Now, that doesn't mean that you can make ads off of these companies if you say things that are really stupid, but it does still guarantee the right for you to say those things that most people probably wouldn't agree with. Zuckerberg is no martyr for the First Amendment, and people trying to make him out to be. I understand it's kind of like a small win. It's like, all these Republicans that have called Facebook out and, just basically been called liars and baseless claims and all this kind of stuff. They feel justified, and I totally understand that. But again, I don't want people to make Zuckerberg out to be this kind of, anti-hero or First Amendment advocate now, because he is not that, nor has he shown that he is willing, or not even enough time has passed to know if he's actually going to stick by what he says with these fact checkers and all that kind of stuff. Again, I think he's just trying to repair a little bit of his public image, which is rightfully trashed at this point. But the other thing is, too, it's not just Zuckerberg, right? Free speech is on the ballot this year. Here's a video clip I found of Tim Walz the other day on X.
That mail-in ballots aren't legal. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
So he says there's no guarantee to misinformation or hate speech. That basically goes against everything I just talked about with the First Amendment. And like I said, you can say really stupid things with the First Amendment. Does that mean everybody has to agree with them or subscribe to that? Absolutely not. But you have the freedom to say that. Now, in context, he was talking about mail-in ballots and how some people are trying to delegitimize that. Well, before COVID, mail-in ballots was always something like for active service members, people with disabilities, that kind of thing, right? People that just could not maybe get a day off of work. Now, I know every job I've ever been to, if you want to get off early or you want to come in late to be able to vote, they always honored that. So, I don't know, maybe you have a different experience there. But there is a legitimate reason for some people to mail in ballots. But when COVID came along, obviously this was a hot button debate, and it still is. And so that was the context in which he was speaking. But just because somebody says something that may be totally wrong, that is protected speech. And so this guy is literally on the ballot to be VP, and he does not believe in one of the most fundamental rights we have in this country. That's a scary proposition. You have somebody running for president that only believes in free speech if she has a teleprompter in front of her.
The significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Well, I think culture is a reflection of our moment and our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because it comes in the morning.
She can't speak. I don't even know how she's going to speak to other leaders of other countries. Hopefully we don't find out. But that is the reality, what we're living in. And that's why it's so important that people like Elon Musk, even him restoring the gun emoji, right? That seems like a small thing. But that is a part of, like he says, the woke mind virus, right? That says that you can't even show a picture of a gun without upsetting somebody. You can't say this or that. And his acquisition of Twitter, now X, was super important for free speech on both sides. And that's why I believe, man, that it is worth it for every single person to speak up. No matter what you believe, you gotta speak up and still keep and hold on to that ability. As much as we hold on to the Second Amendment, which is super important and it protects all other amendments, the First Amendment too, man. We gotta continue to push back on these ideas that will restrain free speech and not prop up people that are definitely not martyrs for the First Amendment. That's just my opinion, though. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold it down.